Hello everyone. Today we are going to be answering the question, what is inside of a strawberry? As we might know, all living things have something in them called DNA. DNA is basically the building block or blueprint for how we as living things grow and develop. So humans have DNA and so do strawberries because strawberries come from plants. And they also grow and develop over the course of their lifespan. So, you might be asking, well, if we all have DNA, why can't we see it anywhere? That's because DNA is normally really small to where it's in all of our little tiny cells that make up who we are, and we can't see it. But strawberries are special because they have a lot of DNA, which means that we can actually extract it at home to see the DNA inside of a strawberry. So, because of that, we're going to be answering the question of what is inside of a strawberry by seeing if we can extract the DNA from it today. For this, you're going to need these materials: 2 strawberries, a resealable plastic bag. You're going to need 2 teaspoons of dish detergent, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a cup of water, 1 coffee filter, 2 clear plastic cups, a half a cup of rubbing alcohol, preferably cold, so currently mine is sitting in the freezer. And then you will also need a coffee stirrer or wooden stick of some sort. You could also use a plastic fork or a plastic spoon. I'll be using a wooden skewer today, but this is just so that we can pick up the DNA after it's extracted to see it. Also, for our strawberries, you can leave the green leaves on, but it might be easier if you go ahead and cut those off. So I'll have mine cut off in the video. All right, let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our plastic bag and we're going to put our 2 strawberries inside of it. Once they're inside of the bag, you can seal it. Make sure you seal it extra tight so you don't spill anything. And for the next couple minutes, you're going to mash up the strawberries with your hands until they are a mush. So, as you can see, the strawberries are all mashed up now. It took me about 3 minutes to get them to this consistency. We're going to set that aside for now. And we're going to take our first cup to mix together our mixture of soap, salt, and water. So you're going to take 1 teaspoon of your salt, which I'm going to just show you as I do it. You're going to take 1 teaspoon of your salt and add it to your cup. And then you're going to take 2 teaspoons of your dish soap. So you'll just pour it in. And then you'll add 1 more teaspoon. And then lastly, you're going to add half a cup of water to this. So I'm going to pour this over my teaspoon measurement cup so that I can clean it a little bit and get some of the soap off of it, and pour it straight into the cup with all of this stuff. And I'm going to take my skewer that I'm going to use later to just stir it and combine everything. Once you have it all mixed really well, your little solution, you're going to open your bag with your strawberries very carefully. Be very careful at this part. And you're going to pour in the mixture that you just made. We'll pour all of it in. Be careful not to spill, and just slowly add all of it. Once it's added, we're going to seal our bag shut, being very careful. You might need to get some of the air out, but make sure you seal it all the way because we don't want any spills. And you're going to mix together the water solution and the strawberries for about another minute until everything is combined. So once it gets like this, try to keep as little bubbles as you can at the top, but once you get everything combined, what we're going to do is we're going to set up our clean cup and we're going to put our coffee filter inside of it. And then we are going to either tear a hole in the bottom of the bag or open the top of the Ziploc bag. I'm just going to tear a little hole in mine. You could also use scissors to do this. And we're going to pour it through our coffee filter to get any big chunks of our mixture out. And we'll pour it into our cup. You might need to pour some of it and then drain it and then pour more. But you want to try and get as much of the strawberry in there as you can and as much of the mixture as you can. So once that's done, you can pull up on your coffee filter and drain out your liquid. Now that we have fully filtered our solution, you can see it here. I already I sat my coffee filter in and I pulled it up so that the liquid could come out, and I squeezed it some so that all of the liquid could drain. It took a little bit of time, which is why I cut that out. But now we have this solution, and we're just going to let it sit for a second to get kind of the foam bubbles on top clear. And in the middle of that, or while you're waiting on that to be done, you can go ahead and clean up some of the stuff and rinse out your cup from earlier so that we can use it for our rubbing alcohol later. Now that most of the bubbles have cleared, there's still a few, but we're going to go ahead and move on. You're going to pour about an equal amount of your cold rubbing alcohol. It should be close to half a cup in your other cup. So I'm going to get down so I can make sure I get about the same amount. And you want to do this carefully, not to make a mess, but we'll add it. That looks about right. And we're going to slowly add it to our cup. So the best way to do this is to slowly tilt your cup to the side and add your rubbing alcohol very, very slowly so it just goes kind of on top of our strawberry mixture. And we're going to add all of it in. Slowly but surely. Once it's all added, you can kind of look and you might be able to see some white stringy stuff coming up. I kind of see a little bit. I'm not sure if y'all can, so I'm going to hold it up. You're going to take your skewer, swirl it around, and see if you can isolate your DNA. You can see it kind of coming up on the sides. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look closely, you can see it. And you see that slimy stuff? That is our DNA. All right, friends, that is the end of the video. But as you can see, we were able to isolate our DNA. You can see it on the skewer if you look really, really closely. It's like all bubbled up there, and there's still a lot in the cup. But I hope you enjoyed the experiment. Thanks for watching.